welcome to this short video to help you get ready for the asset management role in the Finance Accelerator simulation. Here's a quick overview of the investment platform, and I'm going to walk you through how to use this step by step. I think before we launch into this, let's just have a quick recap on what your objectives are in this role and how we're going to measure your performance. You're going to be managing a $20 million portfolio. This is a global equity strategy. You're going to have 5 different company shares to invest in. These companies are from different geographical locations. They're also actually from different sectors. And you're going to be running a long-only strategy. That means you can buy in order to try and profit from these share prices going up. No short selling in this simulation. How are we going to measure your performance? Well, 3 ways. Firstly, your return on investment. So this is about you making the right decisions. It's about getting these share price directions correct. It's understanding the news and the volatility, and it's generating as big a profit as you possibly can for your client whilst sticking to your risk limits, of course. Part of that performance is about execution. So that's when you've decided to buy some shares, right? It's about getting the very best price to buy at. And we're going to talk how you can do that, avoiding market impact by using investment banks rather than trading through the exchange. And then finally, risk management. And here, of course, this is about having a diverse portfolio, and it's also about making sure you're not racking up large losses in any of your positions. And we have a maximum loss limit of minus $500,000. And if you break that limit at any point in the simulation, then your overall ranking and scoring will be penalized as a result. Remember, the part of the simulation that you're going to be an asset manager will be 30 minutes long in terms of game time, but this will be a fictitious 6 months worth of breaking news, price movement and volatility, where you need to be making your investment decisions and managing your risk. So let's get back to the investment platform here. I'm going to walk you through what each part does, and then we're going to do some practice trades. Firstly then, top left, here you've got your 5 companies and their share prices and how much their share prices are moving. So this is, you can keep an eye on these share prices going up and down as we go through the session, okay, both on a price movement and a percentage change movement. Top middle here, this is key. This is our headline feed. So each time there's some breaking news, a new headline will appear here and start flashing. And what you need to understand is it's not just the headline, but if you click on that, a pop-up box appears and there's more information about this development. Really important to keep an eye here. Any of these headlines could have really dramatic effects on the prices of one asset or even multiple assets in your portfolio. Talking of your portfolio, well, this is on the right here. And here you can see the 5 stocks. And actually at the start of the simulation itself, we're going to pre-position you into 5 positions. We're going to invest $1 million of your $20 million into each company for you as the simulation starts, okay? Now, what you can see here is the net position of each stock. So this is how many shares you own. This is the average price you bought those at, and this is the position value. Now, the position value will change depending on how the price of these assets are changing over time, okay? We then have 3 P&L columns, unrealized P&L. This is the profit or loss for any of the positions that you have open, okay? These are positions that you have not closed out yet. This is going to be changing, the unrealized P&L value. That'll be changing as the share price changes because you're still in that position, you're still exposed to that price change. Realized P&L, at the moment this is zeroed out, but anytime you close out a trade, that's when you're realizing your P&L. There's no risk to that profit anymore. You've taken the trade off and that profit is secure and it's in your bank account, okay? Now the net P&L is just adding up both, okay? So sometimes you might have a position in Alibaba, but it might be the second position you've had on in that stock, and you'll have realized P&L from the first one and you'll have unrealized P&L for that second trade that you're still in. The column on the right here is just showing what percentage of your overall portfolio is made up of that particular shareholding. Let's move down to the bottom of the platform. Now, bottom left, this is where we're going to communicate with investment banks. So if we want to place trades, if we want to buy or sell to take trades off, then we're going to use the investment banks to do this. when we're looking to place large trades. And this is about market impact. And I'm going to give you some examples of that in a second. But bottom left is for chatting to our banks, and we can click on each bank in turn and use the chat box to type messages. Here I've just got 2 accounts logged in, but when you're in the simulation, you're going to have 20 or 30 or more individual investment banks, and they'll be listed out down here, and you'll be able to scroll down, and you just need to click on any of them and start talking. The exchange is in the middle here, so we can click on any of these stocks up here at the top and click on their tickers, and this will populate the exchange, and we'll be able to trade that stock. And we enter the volume and we hit enter, and it gives us a bid and an offer. And I'll show you, I'll do an experimental trade now in a second. And then finally, bottom right, we have the chart. And this is mapping out the price movement of each stock. And you just need to click on the ticker up here to change the chart to see that particular price. Right at the top of the screen, we've got some top level information, the value of shares owned. So that's the total of your position values at any moment in time. Realized and unrealized P&L. This is again just summing these columns from the right hand side here. Available cash is an important one to keep your eye on. At the start of the sim, you'll have 15 million available cash. That's because we've invested 5 million for you already. But remember, your job is to get your clients' money invested. It's about investing the money to try and generate return. So I want to see you get as fully invested as you possibly can through the 30-minute period. I want to see this cash level down to less than 2 million, okay? Now, in order to do that, then we're going to need to place some large trades. So we'll come on to that in a second. Finally, the portfolio value here, that's just keeping a track at any moment in time. You know, how is your investment strategy performed? Remember, you're starting at 20 million and your ultimate job is to build the value of this portfolio as high as you can as we go through the simulation. Okay, so let's reset here and do an example trade. And I want to see big trades going through. You've got to get 15 million invested here. So let's just say there's been good news on Alibaba and you want to significantly increase your position. Let's say you want to go from 1 million, which you start with here, and let's say you want to take that up to 5 million. So we want to buy 4 times the amount that we've already got. So 1 million is roughly about, look, you can see 3,600 shares there. So if we want to buy 4 times that amount, so we're going to be buying about, let's just say 14,000 shares. So let's have a look. There's 2 ways to do that trade. Number 1, we can go through the exchange. So if I type 14,000 here and hit enter, you'll be able to see the kind of prices that we'd be able to buy or sell at. Now, here, let's have a quick reminder of this thing called market impact. Hopefully you remember this slide from the theory session. And this was looking at the problem. If you're placing a large trade, then you have a big market impact and you end up getting a really bad fill price. So in this example, if we wanted to buy 14,000, well, we can only buy 1,000 at the actual current market price of 101 because there's only 1,000 shares queuing to sell at that price. So if we want to buy 14,000, we'd buy 1,000 at 101, we'd have to buy 450 at 102, 750 at 103. We're still nowhere near getting our fill, and so we'd be buying at 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, all the way up, and our average fill price would be really high. This would have really bad consequences for our P&L. I mean, let me actually show you what would happen if we bought Alibaba. You can see here we'd be buying all the way up to $327. That'd be our average price. Remember, the current share price is $275. So look, if you did go ahead and do that, I mean, it'll give you a warning saying, whoa, hang on a minute, this would be a price that's 10%, more than 10% above the mid price. Let's say you did buy. Well, what would happen here? Well, firstly, we'd spike the market higher, but look, we're in a much bigger position at the top now. We're in 4.8 million, but check out our unrealized P&L. It's now minus $750,000. That's because we just bought at 327 a share that's trading on the exchange at 277. So we've just lost $750,000 just like that. That's bad execution. So we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to place our trade through the investment bank, and I'll show you why this is better. And let's use a different example. Let's just use Microsoft now. Let's say we want to increase our position in Microsoft. So let's say we want to buy 15,000 shares. Well, we can type this in the exchange again, just to get an idea on the value. That'll be about a $3 million trade. But again, look at that exchange spread. It's huge. We'd be buying at $227 in the exchange. So let's see what kind of price the banks would be able to give us. So we can go over here and we can click on our investment bank, and we can type in a message. Hi, I would like a quote for Microsoft volume 15,000. So remember, when you're communicating with the bank, you need to give them two key pieces of information when you're asking for a quote. Number one, what asset is it you're looking to trade? So in this case, Microsoft. Number two, what volume are you looking to trade? And it needs to be the volume of shares, okay? Not the dollar amount. Don't say, I want to buy $3 million worth of Microsoft, because we haven't established what the share price is yet. So it's always volume in shares, okay? And actually, don't just ask one bank. I would copy, and then I'd go to a different bank, and then I'd, in the chat room, paste that in as well. I would want you to ask at least 5 different banks here for the same quote, and then you can compare and get the best price, okay? And if you give the banks some time, eventually they'll start to look to send through quotes to you. Okay, so here we go. We've got some quotes, and this is where they'll appear down the bottom of the chat box. I've got both banks have now sent me through a quote. If you get a flashing green bank, it just means they've sent you a message, so just keep an eye on that. Any flashing green, click, see what's being said. But look, I've got 2 quotes here, and you can see the amount of time I've got to accept these quotes. Remember, I'm buying, so I want the lowest price. So I'm looking at these buy ones and comparing, and look, IB2 here has given me a buy price at 205, which is a better price for me rather than the 210 that IB1's giving me. So 205, and just a reminder, just look how much better that is than the exchange. On the exchange, I'd be buying at $227. Here, a bank's offering me to buy the same amount at $205. Now, I do have to pay the bank a commission to trade through them, but that commission's only 0.5% of the nominal value of the trade. So I'm going to be way better off overall trading through the bank. So I'm going to accept this. I click buy. Now just be careful here, because I need to reconfirm the volume that I'd like to buy. So another box pops up here. I need to type in the volume I want, 15,000, and then I click buy. Okay. My trade will then register up here. Look, my position value in Microsoft has now increased to over 4 million. And so I've placed my trade through the investment bank. And it's the same procedure when I want to sell and exit a trade. So here, if I want to place a big trade, well, then I'm going to go and ask the banks, please quote me for 10,000 bar, okay? And make sure, as I said, you're asking around and getting these quotes sent through from various banks that you can then compare prices to. And then you need to just wait a little bit, and hopefully those quotes will start coming through. Okay, we've got one here, so we can start looking. Right, is that any good? 270, remember I want to sell now, so 276. Another one's just come in, 275. All right, this is better. We're on the sell column. Sorry, I want to sell at the highest price I can. Sorry, so that's 276. So I click sell. I need to confirm the volume. Okay, and then I can sell, and that's then trade done. You should see that represented up here in a confirmation along the top. Okay, so keep an eye on the headlines. They'll be dropping. Click on those to find out more. Keep an eye on your P&Ls. Make sure you're not losing more than 500,000, like that bar trade, by the way, that I did earlier. Because of the execution disaster, I've already broken my risk limit. So that's another thing. Any bad execution will mean your performance will be hit both on the execution side and the risk management side. So make sure you're going through those banks. Keep an eye on the chart, and just look, try and generate as much profit as you possibly can. Okay, enjoy it and good luck.